David Thompson's electric Mercedes rolled silently into the driveway of his Malibu mansion. After 3 exhausting weeks in Japan closing the biggest deal of his career, he had decided to surprise his family. At just 41, David had turned a small tech startup into an $8 billion empire. He had everything a man could want: a stunning home, a beautiful wife, and more money than he could ever spend. But his real pride, his true treasure, wasn't the money. It was the woman who raised him, Ruth Williams. Ruth wasn't his biological mother. She was the angel who adopted him from the foster care system when he was 9 years old. A retired nurse from Chicago, she worked double shifts, sacrificing her own comfort to pay for his computer classes, never once complaining. To David, she wasn't just family, she was his entire world, the bedrock of his life. He entered through the side door, a smile on his face, planning to make Ruth her favorite jasmine tea. But he stopped cold when he heard voices coming from the kitchen. It was his wife, Isabella, and her tone was sharp, cruel. "I told you not to use the front entrance when I have guests," Isabella snapped. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Isabella," a soft voice whispered. It was Ruth. "I just wanted to—" "You're the maid here," Isabella cut her off, her voice dripping with disdain. "Not family, not royalty, and certainly not our equal. Now get back to your duties." David's heart dropped to the floor. He crept closer, peering around the corner. He saw Ruth standing there, forced into a cheap cleaning uniform, her hands trembling around a cold, untouched cup of tea. The woman who had sacrificed everything to raise a billionaire was being treated like a servant in her own home. Isabella sneered, her face a mask of contempt. "You were paid to raise him. You're nothing more than that." Rage, cold and pure, surged through David. But he didn't storm in, he didn't yell. He did something much, much smarter. He retreated silently to his office and pulled up the mansion's security footage. What he found shattered him into a million pieces. He watched clip after clip of Isabella's cruelty, her forcing Ruth to eat cold leftovers in the basement, her turning off the heater in Ruth's room during the winter, her intercepting letters from Ruth's old friends. And then he saw the digital evidence, a private group chat on her phone called Malibu Elite Wives. Isabella had been mocking Ruth for months, sharing humiliating photos and stories. One message made David's blood run cold. "Don't worry, girls. I'm building evidence she's demented. I'll have her sent to a home soon, and David will think it was my idea to help." He realized this wasn't just casual cruelty. This was a calculated, evil plan. The next morning, Isabella put on her best performance. "David, darling," she said, her voice filled with fake concern. "I'm so worried about your mother. She's been so confused lately, I think. Maybe she needs professional help." David looked at her, his face a calm, unreadable mask, and nodded slowly. As she spoke, he secretly started recording the conversation on his phone. That afternoon, he met with a top private investigator. Together, they legally pulled all the data from Isabella's devices. They found everything: the undeleted messages, the cruel photos, the racist comments, the detailed plans to have Ruth declared incompetent and locked away in an institution. By Friday, the night of a major charity gala, David was ready. As Isabella stood in the foyer, dressed in a dazzling designer gown and ready to leave, David picked up the remote. He didn't say a word. He just pressed play. Suddenly, the giant living room TV flickered to life. Her mask of perfection crumbled. She saw the evidence of her own monstrous behavior, and she collapsed onto the marble floor, sobbing. David looked down at her, not with pity, but with cold finality. "You abused the woman who gave me a life," he said, his voice steady. "You tried to destroy the only person who ever truly mattered. Now, the world will see who you really are." The story exploded. It was on every news site, every social media platform. The tale of the billionaire's wife who abused his elderly mother went viral. Isabella lost everything: her reputation, her friends, her place in society. David filed for divorce the very next day, but Ruth stayed. A year later, the world saw a different picture. Ruth Williams, beaming with joy, was teaching coding to underprivileged kids at a new community center. The Ruth Williams Foundation, built and funded by her son. Her smile was back, brighter than ever. Standing by her side, watching her share her light with a new generation, David finally understood the deepest truth of his life. Real wealth isn't about the billions in your bank account. It's about the people you love, the ones you stand up for, the ones you protect. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos that will touch your heart.